when I started legal practice, it was so painful, it was so slow. I didn't have a structure. Nobody told me, hey, you need to do it this way or this way. You need to systemize. It took me years to understand. Every single business needs to be systemized. Otherwise, it's not a business. You've just created yourself a job. Then I joined the academy and things changed.
How many rent-to-rents do you currently have?
3.
And how much profit do you make over the 3? Tatiana from Moscow, making 6 figures. Thanks for coming to my house.
Thank you for inviting me.
So tell me about what you did before property. What was your occupation?
So before property, I used to work for different law firms, and my last law firm was a very large American law firm, and I absolutely hated it. It's the cold kind of corporate structure that I'm too personable for it. So I decided to go it alone, so to speak. And after a few years, 6 or 7 years being an employee, I set up my own law firm.
Great.
Now, I knew nothing about business, how to run business, how to be director of a business. I just saw the need for people who want to buy houses or property, and they want to use the money they earned outside UK, so foreign source of funds. And I knew all about it because my clients used to be Russian-speaking clients mostly. Not anymore, because now we have clients from all over the world, but they do use funds to buy property, which they didn't earn here in this country.
Yeah.
So I saw the need, and now we set up a law firm, which was a very painful experience and was very slow going because I knew nothing about it.
You knew nothing about the business aspect?
About the business aspect, because I was a property solicitor. So I was an employee.
Yeah, so you knew all about being a property lawyer, but you didn't know how to actually run the business.
Run the business, or be director of a company with all the responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know, like all of a sudden I was an employee with a paycheck coming in every month, and all of a sudden I was a director and owner of a business.
Yeah.
And not just any business, a legal practice.
Yeah.
And obviously English is not my first language. So it was very stressful, very slow going. I had to pretty much work things out as I was doing it. And I often think, you know, that if I only knew then what I know now, our legal practice would have become as successful as it is now a lot earlier.
How does your legal practice run now? Do you have like members of staff that run the show?
Correct. There is about 10 of us.
Yeah.
And solicitors, paralegals, finance people. But I think major point, and particularly when I joined the academy, I realized how important it was. I needed to step out of the business because what I was doing for many, many years, giving myself a job.
Right.
It sounded glamorous, I owned the business, but I still was involved too much. I was doing everything, I almost micromanaged people.
Yeah.
And then you learn as you go along. Then I joined the academy and and things changed.
So people like you, when you come to like the crash course, it's a bit nerve-wracking for me because you've got this big legal practice, you understand property law like the back of your hand, you're running a business. What did you think when you first came to the crash course and you saw what I was saying about property?
It's very funny you should say that because when I came, first of all, I've cancelled 2 crash courses because my son introduced me to you and said, have you heard of this guy, Samuel Leeds? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, and we started watching your videos. And then he booked me on 1 crash course and I was, at the time, I thought I was too busy. 2nd crash course, cancelled. 3rd crash course, he said to me, right, I booked you in, you're going, and if you're not going, I'm not speaking to you for a month. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going. When you came through the aisle, I actually was completely starstruck because I watched you so much on YouTube and everywhere else. I was like, oh my God, I literally, that crash course, I hang on every single word you were saying. By the end of it, I was like, I want more of it. So the crash course was in October. In November, I attended the 4-day course. And again, it was intense, a lot of information, a lot of energy. And by the end of it, I was like, I have to go for the academy. I have to do it. You have to I was kind of a little bit like, because of course academy cost money. And you know how you, Ricky, everybody who talk to us on these courses, you always say like, if you really apply yourself, you will make that money back. I've made the money back, the money I paid for the academy in December. I've made it back in January, literally a month later.
Yeah, wow. It's impressive. How did you make it back so quick? What was the strategy?
Well, because I was on a deal selling extravaganza course, I was obviously managing the practice, legal practice, and one of my clients came up to me and said, I've got this couple of properties I want to sell. Normally, I would probably refer him to one of the estate agents we work with, but now I wasn't just property solicitor, I was a property entrepreneur.
Hey!
So I was like, hold on a minute, there is an opportunity here.
Yeah.
This is a deal that if I find the buyer, I can put them together. This is what we are taught.
Right.
So a little bit of work, a little bit of research, and I found the buyer. So I helped to negotiate the deal between my client, who we help buying, selling houses on the legal side, my legal firm, and then I found the buyer and put them together, helped to negotiate the deal and close the deal. As a result, I gave legal work to my law firm and both parties paid me a commission for the deal.
Incredible. What did you think as a solicitor when you first heard the concept of rent to rent? Because rent to rent is something that sometimes people that don't understand the law properly, a lot of people, even estate agents, they say, oh, that's illegal. So you being a property lawyer, I'd be interested, what was your first reaction when you heard the business model?
It was exactly what you've just said. It was the property solicitor in me vis-a-vis property entrepreneur. It's like as property solicitors, and I don't think I'm generalizing, we think, well, you have to own property to make money out of property.
Right.
Now here, the strategy is you don't have to own it, you can control it. If you control it wisely and you develop the business wisely, you can earn quite a lot of money from this strategy. So it was a bit of an eye-opener, I would say. And then I've done a lot of online. I went through all of the online training, attended training in person, and found my first landlord through actually, I can't remember, it was a Gumtree or Open Rent. But yeah, I just literally just emailed him. I saw this property, 2-bedroom house, and I contacted him. He replied and said, well, come and see the property. I didn't explain anything about corporate let or rent to rent. I just literally made an appointment and went to see him. And when I came, I just chatted with him about myself, about him, what is he all about his property. And the property was pretty sort of run down. So I asked him about that. And then slowly, I started introducing to him this concept of rent to rent.
Right.
And I said, well, you know, I can actually refurb your property to absolutely beautiful. It will be beautiful because I'm after really nice properties, but the location is amazing. So if I take control over your property, if I rent it off you, then I will invest some money, make it look beautiful. And he's like, oh, well, how does it work? Then who is going to be living there? And I explained to him that I intend to use it for short-term let. And there will be guests, some of my clients, some guests, but the property will be, and I had to say, the property will be on Airbnb. And then I twisted completely the conversation and I started talking about him and what he's going to get. Guaranteed rent every month. You don't have any changeovers. You don't have any tenancy agreements. You have no responsibility as a landlord. You've just mentioned to me you want to retire and go travel with your wife. That is exactly what I'm going to give you. He was a bit prickly in the middle of the conversation. By the end of it, he was like, Tatiana, are you sure it's all true? Because it sounds a little bit too good to be true. I said, you know what? Whatever I promise you today, I will deliver every single promise. And within a week, we signed. I got 3 weeks rent free, and that's it. And it's now 3 years. It's mine. We already refurbished it, fully operational. And that's my first rent to rent.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much did you have to spend on the refurb then? What were the costs?
On the refurb, I spent about £5,000.
For a big refurb.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not refurb, it's cosmetic, but it needed it because I really wanted to achieve full occupation.
How long have you had that property for now?
We signed the agreement beginning of May.
Right.
It took us about 6 weeks to refurb, and then end of June we went live.
So how much profit is it making at the moment per month?
Overall, we've got few properties now because we added that particular property between 800, £1,000 a month.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And you've then got a bunch more rent to rent.
Bunch more rent to rents, and overall, it now the business, because you have to look at it as a business. That's again teachings of the academy.
Yeah.
You can't just take a property and then just work with a landlord, add another property. You've got to take it as a business and run it as a business. I realized once I've done it, systemizing a business is just a key to make rent to rent a success.
How many rent to rents do you currently have?
3.
And how much profit do you make over the 3?
£4,000 a month.
That's big. And how much money did you have to put in all together across the 3?
Just that 5,000.
Oh, so that's 5,000 is for all of them?
No, well, not for all. I didn't have to put any money into the other properties.
Okay.
I only into the first one because it was really run down.
And then the first one, presumably, you used that as a bit of a foot in the door to get the others. Because
Correct.
you can say, look, this is what I'm doing for this landlord.
Correct.
This is how good the property looks. You're going to have glowing references from him.
And of course, we had before and after pictures as well, pictures and videos, because the property really was in a bad state. First, it was almost a race to get properties, to start operating this business. But then I thought, everything I've been learning in the academy and my experience with the legal practice, okay, I need to systemize it. And now I am not really involved in the business only when I need to. It kind of works by itself.
How many hours a week do you have to spend working to get that £4,000 a month?
A couple of hours.
Wow. So you've really systemized it.
Yeah, it's the key. And I think another lesson also from rent to rent, apart from being just completely overwhelmed with how well it can work when you don't actually own a property or just control a property, but also you need to be an absolute superb problem solver, because problems will arise in rent-to-rent strategy. I don't know if you heard, but we had this situation where we had a party.
We spoke about it.
We did.
You messaged me on Instagram about it.
We did. We had a party without our knowledge in the 2-bedroom house. I don't think it got out of hand, but the neighbor downstairs, we have a neighbor downstairs who complained about the noise to her landlord, to our landlord, to the estate agent, and to the local council. And it's now, this is 2 or 3 weeks into us being live. We're completely new to it.
Yeah.
And I wake up in the morning, I go to my place of work, I switch my computer on, and I've got all these angry emails from everyone. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Immediately you think it's the end of the world. But actually, it's how you deal with those situations. Contacted everybody immediately. I emailed our landlord back and I called him back. And I explained to him that we're going to put certain things in place, like noise monitors, like asking IDs from guests, so we know who is actually staying in our properties.
Yeah.
And we have a strict no parties policy. I explained it all to him. I'm really fearing now on the phone that he is about to tell me, do you know what, Tatiana, you promised me a lot, and this is what happened. He said to me, the way you handled this was beautiful. I have no doubt you will look after my property really well.
Right.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
It shows that problems will come, but it's not about when they come, it's about how you handle it.
100%. It's definitely, you have to be a brilliant problem solver, and you have to systemize it. We already said that.
Yeah.
And I think also you need to stand out. I give you an example. We had like high season, really good bookings, really good income. We really had a really good run over summer. Now, come September, kids went to school and bookings slowed down. We looked at the property and we decided to uplift it a little. So we put some quirky signs on the walls. For example, in the bedroom, like wake up to a beautiful day, or things like that, or in the sitting room, in the kitchen. Bought some nice lights we put behind the television, so a guest actually can, with remote control, switch the lights on, and it makes this really nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
And we kind of look at the property now. It's not high season anymore. People won't come, drop their bags, and go to the beach. So now it's more the feel and look of a cozy night in. Now it's autumn and winter. And the last sort of cherry on the cake, if you want, we bought a PlayStation and we bought a really nice shelves, like this television, nice shelves, first shelf remote controls, the second shelf PlayStation, couple of bin bags, just couple lights behind the television, and new pictures, new photographs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's no longer seasonal, just nice location, nice property. It's now, you look at the pictures and it's now, ooh, that's cozy, that's nice.
Right, yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's the lesson.
So you have to remember the season you're in, the market that you're tapping into, and market it properly and accordingly to the right season. And if you'd have just said, oh, it's all passive, it's systemized, and you'd have just turned away from it, the bookings would have dried up.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you've done deal selling. You made your money back within the first 4 weeks.
Correct.
From packaging and selling deals.
Correct.
You've also you're making $4,000 a month from rent to rent. What are you doing now? What deals have you got going on at the moment?
So we're still doing it, but almost systemized the legal practice. The rent to rent is a second business, which we systemized. And now I'm moving to the third business, which I want to add to my portfolio, and that's land development.
Yeah.
I didn't have confidence before to do it. Now I'm beginning to understand what I'm dealing with in property, and I'm beginning to look at property market as property entrepreneur, not Blinker's property solicitor.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready and confident to move to something a little bit bigger, a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
So I went further for development deep dive.
Yeah.
2 days. And that was incredible, because that's, again, it's a lot more private, because there's only few of us. I don't know, there was 15, 20 people there?
Yeah.
And of course, it's all the explanation and training, but then it's like, do it yourselves now. You've got your tablets, your laptops, do it. On the second day, I was chatting with Anna and Elliot, and we were like just exchanging ideas and going like, okay, patch, which patch? I don't know. In my patch, like say Brighton, or even where I live, London or Kent, I know Kent, I couldn't find anything. So we started exchanging ideas, and then Elliot said, well, there is a lot of land for development in where I live. I said, where do you live? Shropshire. And we found a piece of land. We did our due diligence, and we realized that the land, the neighboring land, is owned by the same guy, and that land is already under development. So we've done a little bit more due diligence, and we realized we can build there up to 11 bungalows.
Great.
So we had a look, done our numbers, and literally like few estates maybe on the map, there is a very similar development already built, and it's over £1 million worth of GDV. So we calculated that we can make an offer, or would like to make an offer for this piece of land of about £400,000.
Yeah.
So we now know that there is a piece of land. We know who owns it. We know neighboring land is also owned by this guy, and it's already under development. So of course, as part of the training, we use the script and we write a letter. We wrote a letter and I posted it last week. to the landowner. So we will see if he comes back to us. Then we will see what we can do with that. But that's a potential. Literally,
You've now got the process of how to do it, how to find land, how to work out whether you can get planning, how much it's going to cost to build, what the end value is.
Correct.
Amazing. So
And
that's
it's
kind of your main focus now.
all in 2 days.
Yeah, well, we don't mess about, do we?
No, you don't. But of course, I can't stop halfway, can I? So I also joined the Development Mastermind.
Yeah, amazing.
So that's, you go from a big group like Buy, Refurbish, Refinance, part of the academy. Then you go to a smaller group, Development Deep Dive, about 20, maybe 30 people were there. Now you go even to a smaller group, which will now give me more private mentoring. I have already spoken to Tony, who was brilliant. I said, okay, first thing first, what do you want out of it? I said, I want third business. Already have two. I have third business, and I want to scale it up, and I want to get involved and possibly even involve my investors who I have.
So now you've got your law practice, which you've systemized. You've got your property entrepreneurship, which is rent-to-rent, deal selling, which you're systemizing and still growing, because I know you've got more properties
Correct.
coming. And now you've got your property development business,
Correct.
which is going to be your wealth building company.
Correct.
Absolutely incredible. Wow. What does your son think of all this? Because it was only, 9 months ago when he sent you along to the crash course. What does he think about what you've achieved?
To be honest with you, he has known me all his life, so he kind of knows what I'm like. I was never going to stop at crash course. I was never going to stop at 4-day development course or deal selling. I mean, if you do it, you can't do property halfway, particularly if you have an opportunity like I do now with Property Mastermind to have one-to-one with Russell, with Tony, with other guys who is in the group. This is an opportunity to learn from the best. Why would I stop now?
Yeah.
So I think he's proud of me, but I don't think he's surprised at all.
And also as well, as part of the academy, we always say, because the academy, as you know, before we take anybody on, we always interview people and see if they'll be a good fit. And part of the academy is it's not just what you can get, it's also what you can give. And you've been absolutely inundated from other academy members asking you legal questions.
Yeah, it kind of started very, strangely, if that's the right word. I literally just maybe 5-6 months ago when I started, obviously people get to know each other and everybody learned that I was a property solicitor. I don't think many people knew that it's actually my practice. And when they find out, it's like, oh, can you help me? So I basically literally as a volunteer helped a couple of people. Those couple of people told another couple of people. Those couple of people told another couple. And now I literally spend every single evening at least an hour to 2 hours on the phone or checking the contracts or telling them what needs to be deleted or various things.
Well, that's very good of you to do that, and you really don't have to, but you've been a huge asset to the academy, and we're very grateful for that. And and that's what we are. We're a property family, and we just help each other out. What's been the biggest hardship? Was there ever a time when you thought this is not worth it? It's too much effort.
I don't think there was any point where I thought, oh, why am I doing it? No, I know why I'm doing it, and I want to go all the way. There were a couple of moments where everybody has those moments in the academy, in property, where you feel like, well, it's been 2-3 weeks, I haven't done anything. I'm trying, but nothing there's no success. There is no replies. There is no yeses. I just persevere, keep going.
Yeah.
And it will all come.
And also as well with your law practice, because you're, on quite a high hourly rate, for you to give up a couple of days and come to a course, you're also losing money because of your time. So that's why we run the programs very punchy, very to the point. We go on late because if people are booking a couple of days off work and we do a 9 to 5 with an hour and a half lunch break and breaks all the way, suddenly, unless people haven't got a job, you want it to be really good, don't you, on the program? And I think we do a pretty good job of that. I think the training has been good.
Yeah, it's very intense, and the amount of information I learned, the skills, information is one thing, but then skills, how to do things, even how to look at property differently is like immense. I remember studying at university for 4 years, and I don't think I've learned at university over 4 years as much as I've learned in the past 7 months.
Wow,
And
that's a big
just-
statement.
That is true. Because here, you listen, you learn from different people, different mentors, but you also do, you have to do, because you are held accountable.
Exactly, and I think as a coach, you know, I kind of have to read people because sometimes people need an arm around them, and sometimes people need a big punch in the face. You know, like come on, like a wake-up call. And it's about reading people and knowing basically how to work with each individuals in order to get them over the line over the 12 months. What would you say to somebody that was wanting to start out in property, that maybe was a lawyer or had a professional background and was wanting to transition over to the business side of actually being an investor or an entrepreneur? What advice would you give?
Do it. First of all, absolutely do it, because it completely opened up the entire new world for me. That crash course that I went, the third one that I couldn't miss, changed my life.
And you paid how much to go?
£1.
We can't argue with that.
£1. You know, I used to think before academy, or before even crash course, let's go back, that 20, 15, 20,000 in the bank. For example, I'm just any figure. It's nice, little rounded sum. But then all of the training, everything I've done so far completely changed not changed my mind, just twisted it all and put it upside down. That 10,000 is a waste of money. Invest it in yourself, go and learn how to do things properly. If you're lucky enough, get in with the right mentors, in the right environment, and then just follow the basic rules, the teachings, and implement.
Yeah.
You have to implement. You know, like some people say, I'm not really being successful. Yeah, I've done all the online videos. And I was like, well, what have you done? What action did you take? You have to just do it.
Yeah.
Action.
What is your reason for all of this? What's the strongest reason that keeps you going and gives you that fire?
To get where I believe I can get, but with the right mentoringship, in the right environment. Because I've been working on the legal side with the legal firm for over 10 years, I should have been, and I probably would have been very successful there a lot earlier, as we're successful now, if I was in the right environment. So I just want to see how far I can go. Now I am in the right environment, if it makes sense.
Well, your future is so bright, it burns my eyes. And what you've done so far is incredible. And I can only imagine what you can do in 7 years if you've done what you've done in 7 months. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your time today, coming to inspire people from a lawyer's perspective.
Thank you
and
for
also
having me.
for giving back in the academy in the way that you do. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.